Okay. I was wondering about this question, whether I could have it, landscape so I could see better, but no.
No. Sadly, Instagram is a portrait world.
Yeah. Maybe I'll take this down a little bit then. I had a whole plan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So good.
Good. Yeah, I know. It's like, I feel like we're constantly learning and relearning what formats to do anything in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of these platforms are just more cryptic than others. They're just how do you do that? And you can't. It's not intuitive to find it.
Exactly.
Actually, go look for a user guide to.
It's true.
I'm not one of those user guide people. So.
No, neither am I. I'm like just keep pressing buttons until one of them works, and then hope to God that I remember what button it was that I pressed.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
That's my method.
I am different than both of you.
This is why I didn't play video games, because I would just like smash it around and then be angry when like I constantly fell off a cliff or whatever. Yeah. So I tried to wear a sort of somewhat festive outfit for Halloween. So I'm wearing a dress from my friend Jenny Suddick that is a whole bunch of confectionaries.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
It's a very poppy dress.
it is.
It is. It's awesome. I think one of my editors who makes pop art actually would love that. So
Yeah, it's good. It's got like a 19 kind of like 50s sort of cut to it.
Oh yeah.
It feels like it's homemade. It has pockets, which is wonderful.
Another thing that indicates that might be homemade is that it has pockets.
Yes, the people that decide to start putting pockets into just all of women's clothing, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. It took them long enough, right?
It really I mean, I still own many, many pants that don't have pockets, which makes me furious.
Yeah. Yeah, at some point my younger one said, I'm just not wearing dresses anymore because there are no pockets. Yeah, now they're starting to do pockets, and she's like, no, I'm still not going to wear dresses.
Well, we're so excited to have you here today, joining us for Flat Files.
I'm very happy to be here.
So we usually have our guests introduce themselves and talk a little bit about what their practice is.
Okay. So I'm Christine Fischer Guy, and I am a writer in Toronto. I'm a novelist and a journalist, and I also write short stories. I teach writing, and I have a family, so it's a full dance card. So I have two kids who are, one's 21 and the other one's 24, and because it's COVID, everybody's here, and it's everybody here 24/7. Everybody's working and studying here, and it's a lot. But
it's been months. It's been like 8 months now.
Yeah. Well, both of them they have all of their classes are online, so. And everybody's working from home, man. So I'm working on a second book. I edited the first time I came to Sparkbox was in 2013 when I got my first edits back on my first book, and that was a 2-week period. And then I've been back many times because it's so amazing there, and I love working there. But I'm on a new novel right now, and I'm also teaching I'm almost finished teaching a term at the School for Continuing Studies at University of Toronto. Creative Writing Through Reading is the class that I teach. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's what I'm working on right now. I'm on kind of a bit of a break from my book. I've been working on it for 5 years, and I kind of got to a point, and I have some notes from my agent, and me and my book kind of need to see other people for a little while. So
I know that feeling.
Yeah, so I'm working on some short stories that have been kind of dusty and needed some more attention, and doing some other things. I'm working on the work for teaching, and also I have a couple of small things coming up to write, and I'm going to be doing a lecture at the beginning of December for a book club. So just bits and pieces like that. And then I'll pick it up in the new year. Pick the book back up in the new year. I think I really feel like I need a breather from it. I can't get enough distance from it, and it's yeah. So I'm looking forward to a little bit of a break and then getting back to it with fresh eyes.
That makes sense. I mean, I can only imagine what it must be like to invest in one, I guess, concept and object. I don't know how you...
Well, it's super difficult. So like with print, like print is still like, it takes a month, 2 months sometimes to make an object. I can't imagine like when you start talking about an object or a thing in terms of years.
Yeah.
Like
it's actually weirdly it suits me. It's definitely a marathon compared to writing a short story. But it's like I like the chance to go in really deep into something and to do a lot of research. That's actually my favorite part. I really love to research, and also just to think about a question for a long time and to give it time to like really develop. So it does. I'm a bit surprised that it suits me, but it does. So
I feel like the research end, I would be great if someone just needed somebody to research something but then never use that research to develop an idea or to articulate a thought. I would be boss at that. I love finding and learning and just like studying something, but I'm not super good at then like taking that discovery and forming it into a concise message.
That's the anxiety provoking part of it for sure.
Yeah.
Well, research is like, whoopee! I'm just learning with no responsibility.
It's my favorite thing ever.
And you can go down some really awesome rabbit holes, especially when you choose the area that you're researching, right? It's like your thing that you're interested in, and then you're like, wow, this is like way more interesting because I just found this new rabbit hole over here. So
I think that's what I like about kind of loose podcasts, like where they more or less are just like reading back to you the findings that they've discovered, but they're not necessarily adding much of their own layer to it. I'm like, yeah, I could do a podcast like that, where I'm like, maybe you don't feel like learning this, so I've learned it for you. Here are the words that I read off a page, and I'm just going to read them off the page directly to you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's my fave. So the premise of today, just to
for those of you who don't know,
reiterate, is we have a collection of 3 items from our personal this time it's art, book, and new project collection, and we share that with you, and then you do the same to us, and we alternate back and forth. So it is an old-fashioned show and tell focused on creative pieces.
Sounds great. So
we like to let the guest pick who goes first. So you can go first, or you can ask us to go first.
I would like to go first because the first piece I'm showing you is behind me, and I have put it on a music stand so that it can be seen. I'll bring it a bit closer, but I'm feeling a little anxious that it's going to fall down. So
okay. Go ahead.
So the first artist that I want to talk to you about is Clive Holden. Clive is a multimedia artist who has done experimental filmmaking and film looping, as well as still shots and all kinds of different film-based algorithm, new media kind of art. And this piece is one that we love, and it's called Wind at Lake Manitoba, and it was done in 2003. So I'm going to bring it a bit closer so you can see the detail a bit better.
Perfect. Oh, it's large.
Yeah, it's big. So I'm going to just
pan through it.
I'll kind of I'll go through it like that. And
so it's like a collection of still images of a tree and an object. Is it a bag?
It's a leaf, actually. Can you see the
leaf?
Yeah, I think, yeah. So I'm going to bring it up and pan it. Tell me if I go too far, because I can't see now.
Is there also something else in the background?
It looks like he's taken like a video, like a segment of video, and split it up into individual frames.
Is this a bit better?
Yeah.
Neat.
I'll just pan through
How
it.
many? I'd be curious to know how many stills there are.
I'm going to tell you in a minute because I can count them for you. Okay, I'm going to put
So
it down
nice.
because it is a big piece.
It's huge.
It is.
I'm like sweating because it's heavy. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 56.
Quick math.
Yeah.
There we go. You kind of get a sense of the whole piece this way.
Mm-hmm.
So they are taken from film, and they are you can kind of see it's called Wind at Lake Manitoba, and so that it's leaves blowing off trees. So as you move through, you kind of read it like a book, right, left to right.
Right.
And then you go through, and the leaves are slowly coming off, and then in the last couple of frames, I don't know if you can see that. I'll bring it a little bit.
They were like black, weren't they?
Yeah.
Or like.
Oh,
yeah.
What happened here? Sorry.
No, you're good.
There. The last. No,
Yeah.
that's the wrong side. There we go. The last few are just like fading to black, kind of.
Yeah.
So that's Wind at Lake Manitoba, and it's I think one of the things I like the sense of movement that in it, even though it's still. But I think all of Clive's work is all really interested in time as a thing on its own. Like it's a kind of a study of time in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
He's been lately doing a lot more video work with algorithms. He takes a still image and he loops it. Like one of them is alpaca. So there's an alpaca piece of wool going through a loom, and it's just kind of looping. You can just see it slowly. It's also, I find it really meditative, you know? It has a kind of meditative, kind of repetitious kind of quality.
No, I love that. I also like seeing like a video broken down into its parts, because this would be like so fast, like in a film. And I mean, unless at real time, it would go really quickly.
Yes.
And like just isolating those little fragments of a second so that you can really watch something happening and study it is really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of the pieces, like this one, actually, if you look, you're going to be posting a link to his Instagram. On his website, he has Wind at Lake Manitoba as a film, so you can actually look at that online. And when you see it in the gallery, it's one of those things you can stand in front of for kind of a long time, just kind of like meditating, and like it's almost like puts you into I won't say that trance is too strong, but you know what I'm saying? It's kind of a meditative state of mind. It's kind of puts you into the moment. It's kind of a mindfulness exercise in some ways.
Oh, that's nice. It's also, I love we don't have really very many pieces of photography in our house, which I was realizing doing this project, but I love photography. It is so expensive to purchase because it's so expensive to make.
Yeah.
And having a large photograph is just like something I like covet. I really want one day to own like a very large photograph in my home. Like that's like a dream of mine. It's true. How many times have we walked into friends' houses who have a large photograph, and I'm just like lusting over it.
It is true.
It is. It is in a place of pride. It's in our dining room, so we look at it, every single night when we're having dinner, and
so good.
There's something quite peculiar when you take like a moment of time and you extrapolate that moment of time into a very static two-dimensional sense. And I think that there's like, you are really forced to pay attention to the movement of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like this piece a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great.
Awesome.
I have a kind of a bonus piece from Clive. This was the main one that I wanted to talk about, but I want to show you the bonus piece. But I'm going to take this down first so I can stop worrying about it.
Before it breaks. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, on a literal music stand. Okay,
Yeah,
yes,
you were
It's actually a music stand. Yeah, because that's the best
you
I
were
could.
taking a risk there.
So this is another one of that we have of Clive's. I'm going to bring it a bit closer so that you can read it.
Oh. So it's backwards. Thanks again, Instagram.
Oh, right.
It says like EX.
P-O.
Exposed?
Exposed, yeah.
Nice.
And it's, sorry for that clattering.
Music stands.
This was, I bought this piece when my first book was coming out because that's how I felt. Right? We wear our hearts on our sleeves, so it just really resonated for me for that reason.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, showing your own work is always such an uncomfortable, it's like exciting and horrifying all at the same time. You're like, yeah, I did it, but also please be kind.
Yeah, exactly. I really hope you like it because this is really me.
Yeah.
This is as much me as I can be.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, so true. Oh, sweet. Those are great chairs. I love it. I guess maybe sticking with the theme of time, you might know this person. I'm not
Let's
sure.
see what we can do.
I know it's backwards. We're sorry.
Yeah.
Everything gets turned around once we.
Do you want to just flip the camera?
No, it's okay. It's too complicated. So this is a book called The Principles of Uncertainty by Maira Kalman. And I hope that I'm saying her name correctly. She is an illustrator, very renowned illustrator out of New York. She's written a number of books, both for adults and for children, and she illustrates for the New York Times and the New Yorker and a whole bunch of other places. She's won tons of awards and has done TED Talks. It just definitely worked to like dig into and take a look at. So this was a piece that Jan Winton, an artist and professor at Queen's, gave me when I graduated.
Wow.
Because at the time, like in my third year at Queen's, I was doing a lot of work where I was just sort of journaling my day to day and trying to be like as like earnest and truthful as I could be. So like writing things that were personal and then printing like large editions of these personal narratives in screen print. And so I don't know if that's why Jan gave me this book or if she just thought that it was interesting and she thought I would like it, but
I think that's been part of that. Like your projects and thesis here were very similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not these kinds of illustrations, but because these illustrations are amazing.
Yeah.
But I just want to read like what the purpose of this. So what she has written in the dust jacket. So what is this book? What is anything? Who am I? Who are you? Stop it. Forget it. This is a year in my life, profusely illustrated, abounding with anguish, confusion, bits of wisdom, musings, meanderings, buckets of joie de vivre, and restful sojourns. And so, yeah, it's a bunch of different illustrations, but there's also photographs. And sometimes the content is really simple. Like this one just says the couple, and this one says the box of chocolates. But then there's areas that are like longer and sort of lists or mind maps of information. And yeah, so some of it's like travels to different places. Sometimes it's like reflections on people. I really liked this one. So it says the Hermitage. In the Hermitage, you will see this bow on this woman. And then it says again. And then it says and again. And then have tea or vodka. You'll be so grateful to follow her and see that bow. But it's just a beautiful collection of someone's life. The the interesting people that she sees and things that she notices. And yeah, you just kind of travel along with her throughout the year in this publication.
That is so lovely, and I especially appreciate that. I especially appreciate that the written parts are handwritten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even over top of the photographs, she's handwritten.
Oh wow, that I can't read that. I would love if you would read that because it's backwards. So.
Which one?
One on with the dance move, I guess. He's dipping her upside down.
It says part 3, Pina. Oh, how do you say that choreographer's last name?
Pina Bausch.
Yes.
I love.
The floor is so hard and the dancers are moving so quickly. How can they do this? This is dangerous. Are they dancing for Pina? They are dancing for Pina Bausch. That I feel like it's you know those balance pieces that she did,
yeah,
where they would sort of walk and then the female dancer would just fall straight to the floor,
yeah,
and the male dancer would catch just before. I think that's what the illustration is of.
Oh, that's
so then, like it goes on to like the next page and like the thought extrapolates a bit further.
Yeah, if Pina was lifted up in the air as a child, did she laugh, or did it seem dangerous, very dangerous?
So I think that she now just is musing off of that concept, right? Thinking about those dancers.
They're kind of they're trust exercises, right? So
yeah. So I really love this book. I like books like this because I'm so terrible at completing a book that I can just like fall into a portion of it, like look at it, read it, and then set it aside and come back another day and pick a random page and enjoy that section.
You can read it very non-linear.
Yeah.
It becomes an art book at that point.
Exactly. So yeah, that's our first share.
That's really lovely. It's good because I have a book to come up next too, and it's Tree Talk by Ariel Gordon.
Love this
and
cover.
I need to set it up a little bit because I knew that it was a kind of a sort of a performance art project in a way, but I didn't realize until this book launch how much it was also about community. What Ariel did is she set herself up at the what's the name of the cafe? Or she lives in Winnipeg, and it's what is the cafe? It's really well known. They have chicken and waffles there, and everyone goes there. I'll come up with it in a minute, but she said
I've never been to Winnipeg.
The Tallest Poppy is what it's called. And for 2 days, and she, from like full days, from like 9 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night, she sat under a big tree and she wrote poems, and she encouraged other people to also write poems, and she would put them on these little pieces of strips of paper that were made that she just cut out of like hanging file folders. They were a little bit stiffer, like kind of old. It was repurposed, and then she would tie them around this huge tree, right? And so people would come by and she would say, hey, do you want to write a poem to the tree? Or do you want to confess a secret to the tree? And so, like, for example, here was one that was really, really lovely, that someone asked her. Here's a secret someone wrote to the tree. I always have conflicting thoughts and emotions. That was a secret someone confessed. And here's another secret. I'm scared of falling back into old habits. And here's one of her little poems. The breeze filters through, billows of talk, the passage of cars, the leaves arrayed. And her sister, Natalie Baird, does these illustrations. Which really, really beautiful. I'm gonna get a close up of that on that illustration.
Yes,
the leaves. She actually also during the launch for this book, Natalie was live drawing. They had a camera like over top of her, and it was really, really soothing just to watch somebody live drawing. It made it a much nicer kind of Zoom experience.
Right.
Well, the book was launched during the pandemic.
Yeah. So I'm going to just show you a couple more of the illustrations. This one is the poem that goes with this one. I am uninspired. I am heavy, sodden. I list. And this is the the drawing that her sister made
Oh, so nice.
to go with it.
What a nice collaboration with your sister, too.
Isn't that amazing? It's so,
Yeah.
I found that so lovely too. And one more, I'll show you one more because this is, well, maybe two more, so you can see her drawing of what the tree looked like when it had all the, here's a close-up of the tree with one of the poems on it.
Okay.
So to see the strings, and she also did. Here we go. Here's one with a whole bunch, like a backup of them.
Oh, nice.
Oh, super cute.
So they did that, and this is the first tree talk, but then there's going to be 2 and 3. But during the pandemic, they also did this thing, which the press is at Bay Press. She's in Winnipeg. So Ariel would write a poem and her sister would illustrate it. And they push it across the table to each other because it's during pandemic time. So the poem is, every day another flush of green buds and leaves, my cheeks rosy from sunlight, from fever. So you can see this, her sister's illustrations to go with that.
Oh. Love it. I like the way that poem is broken up across the page.
Yeah, it has a specific placement for that reason. I'll put them up over here. You can just, this one looks especially nice when you can stand it up like that, and you can see the whole. Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
If you're able to tilt the camera down a little bit, yeah.
So nice. I love that.
What a great little duo project.
Also, collaborating with the public. Jenna and I did a project where we invited people that came to visit the exhibit to write a secret on a piece of paper that we wove into a nest.
Yeah.
Because we were doing a project that you could pull back wallpaper and it would reveal a little pop-up print.
Oh.
And all of the pop-up prints were sort of conversations about stories that related to the site that the exhibition was on.
Oh, amazing.
And so we loved the idea of when you are renovating a house and you're taking down walls and you sort of stumble upon, some fragment of whoever lived there before you, but it's completely out of context. Sometimes like Kyle and I pulled up a floorboard and we found old shoes, geometry homework, I don't know, a horseshoe, some little bottles, just a bunch of random stuff that maybe connected with each other but probably didn't. But you start inventing stories about why they're together or why were they in the floor or whatever. And so we wanted to have people share their own stories that we could hide in this nest. We burned the nest at the end because the part of the end of the festival was to burn something from your exhibition. But we did take photographs of all the secrets because they were so interesting. We never shared them because we got kind of nervous about
they were meant to be secrets.
Sharing some of them. But there was one from a teenager, I think, that was said, and you don't know if they're real, right? They could be people you could write whatever you want. The secret could be that you lied about your secret. But it was my dad is having an affair and he doesn't think I know, or something like that. And you're like, what? I hope that's not true, because that's so sad.
It is, yeah, that's true. It is sad. The thing I really love about that project, though, is how it, yours, it brings the community into doing these kind of small acts of art and creation, imagination in their lives. Ariel thought it might be hard to get people to write poems to the tree, but she said it wasn't really. Sometimes people would dictate to her. So here's one that was dictated. So it's her story around it. And then a young Indigenous man is the first to approach. He circles the patio. Finally, he sits and stares at the tree. Spell thanks, he says, and waits. Spell mother. Spell earth.
Aww.
Isn't that lovely?
That is lovely. I would probably dictate because I'd be so nervous about spelling something.
Yeah.
I'd be I don't want there to be a record of the fact that I can't spell. simple words. That is such a beautiful share. I love that. I'm excited to show that like book too on our stories after.
Mm-hmm.
So our next share is a little unboxing from, this doesn't actually have any stick left to it, so it's popping open. But so this, we have been patrons of an artist out of the States. She's in Ohio, and her name is Leigh Ellexson. And she's an illustrator. She really like has made like a nice space for herself online, which I, of course, especially right now, I'm very like interested in, and like have kind of like used her as a source of inspiration for how to make being an artist who's mostly present online a thing. And so we purchased some work from her recently. So this is how it came. It has a little like please recycle custom made tape on the top, which is so nice. A little package. I think that's all that's in there. Crinkly plastic sound. Little ASMR for you. So, there's like more in this little package than what we ordered, so that's kind of fun. So, we ordered this little tiger.
Wow. He's
drawing.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I mean, her work is just like very playful and like hyper illustrative. And I think that I just wanted to see some work that just makes me feel happy. This is actually the piece Kyle picked. So this little like purple tiger scene. I picked a bunch of stickers because I love stickers.
So she picked stickers.
Oh, those are fun.
Very, very different.
So where do you use your stickers, Chrissy?
Oh my god, can you show her your day planner?
I'm like,
Chrissy.
I'm just like,
she's been using these day planners.
I'm such
for like
a nerd.
years now.
Let me find a good page.
It doesn't. You have to show different months because she color codes every single different month and like decorates each one differently.
I don't color code every month, but like, yeah, I like, you know.
Oh wow, your plan.
So I have to make organizing my life enjoyable, or we don't need to do like a.
So like this is November and October. She uses stickers in this, like a lot of stickers.
I do. I just like them. I don't know. I'm like a child.
They're very cheerful. I think we don't have to feel bad about doing cheerful things right now at all.
No.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like I just we have so much scheduling, and I realize that I really do not enjoy using like a calendar on a computer.
Oh wow.
I never look at it. I like actively avoid it. So like having a physical planner where I write out what I'm actually doing, it's like kind of like a diary in a sense. Like sometimes I write things that happen in the day or what the weather is like. And the amount of times I end up going back to like years before to recall, you know, when did we actually do that? How long did that actually take? Is pretty frequent. So I end up using it all of the time.
Oh my God, that's nice. If you use it all the time, what a beautiful thing to be able to flip through and you see all these beautiful stickers. Like, you're creating these individual books, like one-off books.
I think it's also like, I think a big takeaway that I've been finding from these flat files is how important like letting people know that art can be accessible is.
Mm-hmm.
Art can be fun, it can be bright, it can be stickers.
Yeah,
like I just feel like a lot of times, you know, especially when I was working like in different galleries, people would be like, oh, I don't know how to pick the right art, or I can't afford it, or I don't have space in my condo. or whatever. Like, oh, I move a lot, so I don't want to buy things and, you know, cart them around. I don't have the luxury to do that. And I think that there's this like hang up, like where art becomes too complicated for people. And it's been really nice to go through our collection and see how uncomplicated it can be. Like, you know, I'm still supporting this artist that I like enjoy the work of, that makes me feel like happy, you know, to like peruse through her page on Instagram. And it is simple, and it's just a sticker. Like, I could stick this on my phone or computer, or I could put it in a package and send it to a friend and, you know, send them a little bit of art in the mail. And it, you know, it costs $5 or something. And it's very, you know, I can put this in a pocket. I don't have to, it's not heavy, it's not cumbersome. And, but it still brings me like happiness, and I get to enjoy that person's work. So
I was going to say, it's a nice joyful thing. You have those kinds of things. Like I have a 3-tier calendar organization system. I use an electric one because I don't like using it, but it can be handy. But then I also have a big one on the wall, and I pick out, like, every year. It's just so exciting to go pick out the one, because it's going to be beautiful artwork for the whole year. And then I have a monthly thing, and it's also like a notepad with a beautiful illustration on it. So I get to have all that part of my scheduling part, which I don't really like to do that much. So it has to be done, right?
It's true. It's true. And I think that if you can like make it enjoyable and support somebody while doing it, then I don't know. For me, that's just an added bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna look that artist up when you post that later.
She's like really quite, like, I think one of the reasons why we were drawn to her is because she's very casual. So like her online presence isn't like her at a table with like a white background. It's like very, very like kind of casual, and like it felt very earnest and honest. And I think like, well, for Christine and I, that's how we kind of conduct our life.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's not about putting on a weird show, and I think that that's why you really identify her with her. And like, she'll just be like, I just made some cute stickers.
I love that.
And I just had
bowl
fun.
of ramen sticker. Like, I really want the bowl of ramen sticker, like, a lot.
Yeah, it's really good.
It is super cute.
But I think, like, you know, there's sort of a tie-in between these two, in just like their art being an exploration of like their day, things that come to mind, stuff that they're looking at, things that interest them, colors or shapes. You know, I love that. I mean, I love complicated art as well, that like is very intellectual and asks a lot of questions and makes you like, you know, really think about your actions or what's going on around you. But sometimes I also, especially right now where I feel like I'm
inundated,
overwhelmed by the heaviness of life.
Yeah.
I just want to like enjoy a sweet tiger sniffing citrus in a forest made of purple.
Yes, I love the tiger's face. He's so unthreatening too. He's just like, he's like a giant cat that would crawl into your lap and purr for a long time.
Exactly. So that's our second share.
All right. So my last share also needs some setup. And this is actually kind of goes into this, what you were talking about how do you put art into every single day. But this is actually an ancient indigenous art form that women practiced when they were out gathering berries, and it goes back thousands of years. And it's called, have you seen bitten bark before?
I don't know.
I'm going to show you the first piece, and then I'll tell you some more about it. So this is I'm showing you this piece because I want you to see something important about bitten bark. First, it requires some light. Just a sec there.
Oh, what is happening?
Can you see? It's
oh
cool.
So these,
yes,
these are also known as dental pictographs, and they're made from the inner layer of birch bark. like the really soft inner layer. You have to peel it off the tree really carefully. And the women, when they were out doing their foraging, they would take a break and they would just make these really beautiful little ephemeral art forms. And they work like like snowflakes. You know, when you were little and your teacher said, okay, take your piece of paper, fold it up and then cut. So it's just like that. They fold them and then they bite them with their like eye teeth to make the marks. And so if you think about like the planning required, I'm just gonna see if I can show you a little bit closer if you can see the detail on this one. It's maybe.
Oh yes, yeah. yes.
So imagine, like, some of them are just tiny little stroke marks that she made with her teeth.
That's cool.
So I came across these things in the National Gallery one time when I was in Ottawa, and they were just in this tiny, they're really small, right? Most of them are quite small because birch bark rips. You know, you can't get really big pieces usually. And they had them in this little plexiglass box in one of the rooms. And it was the teacher of this artist, actually. Her name is Angelique Merasty Levac. She's a West Coast artist. And she learned from Angelique Merasty, like same name, but except for the
okay.
Angelique Merasty, if you look her up on the internet, she has died, but she's world known. She became known throughout the world for her birch bark bitings. And so anyway, I became a bit obsessed with all of this, and I was going to be going west. I was going to Vancouver for one of my work gigs. And so I pitched a story to homemakers about this artist, and I ended up taking an extra trip up to Prince George where she lives, and I met with her. And the one that I showed you just now, she made it for me to show. She did it right in front of me so I could see how it was made.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah. So I met up with her and talked with her about it. I'm going to try to pronounce it. This is in West Coast Cree. So the name is Mastanasta Wasque. It's a Cree, like a Western Cree, is as close as I've been able to pin it down, because Angelique is pretty hard to get a hold of. Like, she's just not on the internet. And so the piece another piece that I bought from her when I was there, and now that I've explained to you like how hard it is to get a big piece, you'll appreciate this, but you have to check out the detail on this. This one is called Four Frogs.
Whoa.
Whoa, neat. Whoa.
That is so lovely.
It's almost like a clover leaf pattern.
Yeah.
But like,
so it's folded in half.
And then
in
quarters. And then eighths. And then she has to, like, the spatial ability, like, to be able to like, there's no pencil marks on the page. She just does this with her teeth.
So
cool.
Is the bark softened in any way to make it like not like crack or split or anything while you're folding it so much? I've never folded bark, but
you'll have to go check it out now that you know about this, because when you go out and you take some birch bark off the tree, the several layers from the outside are really hard, and you could never do it with that. If the inner layers are like, they almost feel like kid leather, like it's really, really soft. And so you have to peel it off carefully. But you can, just to get a sense of the scale of this thing, like this is a very large piece, right? Look at it's bigger than my head.
Yeah.
So this was, I mean, it's unusual to find pieces that are this large, because it's hard to peel it off the tree in one piece without it ripping. And then if there are any knots, you can't go around the knots. You need a completely flawless piece. So I found it very enchanting, but just also, like, it felt really existentially reassuring to me to think about, like, art being just a part of daily life. Like, you're out there, like, getting supper for your kids, right? And you're going to sit down, you're going to make this, like, really beautiful thing. Like, sometimes these were design, like, practices for things that would become beadwork. Right?
Oh, cool. It's like a sketch.
Yeah. but it also just blows my mind that like she could do it without like any kind of a sketch. Like she'd fold it up into eighths, and I don't have that sort of spatial ability, you know. But it really requires that you could, like, if you think about the four frogs, like it's stunning to me that she does like take it out and kind of, she, you know, looks at it a little bit, and then she bites a little bit more, and she looks at it a little bit more, but it's really something else, you know, to see that.
Cool.
I love it. I've never
From BC,
seen
we've
this
been
type
still
of work before.
going west.
I like it. A little journey
Yeah,
across
this is
Canada.
like, I've never heard about this before. This seems really like a very strange. Like when you said like snowflake, that's like when it clicked for me. It's like, okay, I understand how you could like fold it, but like it takes a long time to develop that like relationship with it.
Yeah.
Like I wonder how many of these that they would make throughout their lifetime.
Oh, I think from what I understood from the research that I did write a piece. I did write a little profile of her for Homemakers magazine in 2008. It would be a lifetime project. Like, and it's just, and that's what I mean about the existentially reassuring part, is that it's something that you do as part of your daily life. Like no matter, like it's not like something like, oh, I have to have 4 hours to work on a thing. It's like, well, I'm going out to pick some berries, and I'm a bit tired, so I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna get some birch bark, and I'm gonna like make a design, like something that I might use later for beading. You know, it's just like it's so integrated, right? It's so holistic that
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I think it goes back to sort of that first piece that you showed too, in the way that you are just appreciating what's around you, making space for creation, and then also allowing yourself to sort of get lost in an action, which is really, for me, like a lot of what making is.
Yeah, it's very grounding. Like I think, you know,
Yeah.
when I first started coming out to you guys, I had not been drawing for a long time, although I did study visual arts all through high school and through university. But I hadn't been drawing. I put it aside because I only had so much time in my day, and I was writing instead. But it's a very grounding activity. Like I'm not making art for other people. I'm just, you know, I don't have serious artistic intention in terms of visual art, but it's something that helps me think, and it helps it grounds me, and it's very mindful. It's just like you're just right there on the page with the pencil, like, and it's, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely feel that way. All right, our last share. So we've been trying to, like, when we can, integrate something that we're doing into these. So as you know, because you're one of our patrons, I was asked to create some textiles for a local store. So the store is Kelly's, which is in Picton.
Kelly's shop, downtown Picton.
Yeah, one of my faves. I like, if we go back in the history of Flat Files, you will see a lot of outfits from Kelly's worn by me. And so Kelly has been selling masks that are made by a local, I forget what, I believe it's a him, and I'm forgetting his name right now, but I will put a link, and I'll put a link to Kelly's masks. And so she wanted to do a collaboration where, like, I designed some fabric, and then he would make the masks, and then she would bring them into the store. So so I did this design actually like a couple years ago, and I never turned it into a proper repeat pattern. So I've been doing a lot of floral work for murals and that sort of thing for some time, and I became especially obsessed with poppies for a lot of different reasons. One, I just find them to be a really beautiful flower, and I love their structure and the different sort of phases of their life. And then also partially because like my father he has MS, and so he's on a lot of different medications, and for a lot of people, different opioids are prescribed to help with pain management, and with like the opioid crisis that's been going on like in Canada and the US, and I'm sure other places as well. I just felt really like frustrated and confused, and I don't know, it just became like a topic that I read a lot about for a while. So I just started kind of like thinking about poppies from that perspective as well. Not that they're like directly linked to that at all, but like in a very long line of the poppy. So yeah, I just started drawing a lot of poppies. And this one, I wanted to like strip down my line work as much as I possibly could so that the pattern would be like easy at different sizes. That's why I have it printed at like a larger scale, sort of medium, and then like a more dense repeat. And yeah, I really I like the way it turned out. I think that like this landed as the most popular color combination, but when it was printed, I think this one might be my favorite now. Yeah, so now they're gonna get turned into some masks.
Amazing.
For sale at Kelly's shop, and I'm like very excited to see what they look like. I ordered some as well to make some hankies.
This is like her first time using Spoonflower to order fabric, and so when you create an account with them and you create a design, you order like a sample package, and you have to approve the samples. So like these are like the physical samples that we got from the company to like kind of see like, hey, this is what it is. You have to approve them before you can sell them online.
Oh, that's it.
I'm actually pretty impressed with it. So it's digitally printed, so like they can print like any sort of color or whatever. And like part of like printing onto fabric is fabric bleeds and like wants to pull the ink in different ways. And so like our concern was going to be that on like a pattern like this, where you have like very, very fine details, that like those line works would become like very, very blurry.
Yeah.
And it is on, I would say it's like slightly blurry when you look really closely at it, but like on the whole, it's actually really good. I was actually really impressed with them.
How did the color translate from your screen?
Well, I mean, this is like it's hard, right? Because it's like when you're looking at it digitally, I think that the blue looks a lot lighter, but I'm happy with this. Like it's a bit more on the like purple spectrum on the blue than I was using more of a like draftsman's blue.
Right.
We got them printed at Spoonflower, so I just went with like the company that a lot of illustrators that I know and surface designers that I know use. I think that they're printed in Germany and then they're like shipped out through the States. Yeah. I could be wrong about that. I just read like a website that I'm pretty sure that's where they said that it was coming from.
So that was Spoonflower, like a spoon that you would eat with, and flour, and you can just go online, and their website is really quite lovely.
I'm sure. I would like to do some research on like different places in Canada that are printing digitally like this. But because of the turnaround that Kelly needed, and she orders a lot from Spoonflower already. It just seemed like the easiest. And they just walk you through everything, and it's not complicated. Like I didn't even have to, I've realized now, like make sure that my pattern repeats properly in like a program on my computer. I can just upload the pattern in Spoonflower and it will show me the repeat.
Wow, that's
really yeah. So it's just really like really a lot easier than I was anticipating. But I watched a lot of Skillshare courses to like learn how to make a proper repeat, and then I went to Spoonflower and I was like, oh, cool, you do all of the work for me. But I'm glad that I learned. I'm not disappointed with the experience of learning all that. So yeah,
those are gorgeous. They are absolutely beautiful prints.
I'm hoping that I might make some more, and yeah, I can sell them on, like, you can buy the fabric on Spoonflower, so that's also fun.
Oh, that's
cool. And I think for me it kind of frees up my like love for surface design and wanting to play with making textiles.
Yeah.
And now if there's like all these kind of weird textile ideas that I have in my sketchbook that are not, they're just not like saleable at a craft sale. You know, like when I would do craft sales, I would be wanting to make these like super strange quilts or different types of pillows. But the reality is that they take like sometimes like a literal year to make, and all of the fabric is hand printed. So the cost of one of these would be like ludicrous.
Yeah.
And it was always so stressful for me because I wanted to make textiles and I wanted to have them at craft sales, but I could never, I was always just losing money. So now I feel like the like craft end, I can do something like this. So it still feels like I'm creating a design,
Yeah.
and I can, you know, have that available, but then I can also play with the more like, you know, complex ideas for a different purpose, and I don't have to be like concerned with whether or not I can sell it at a craft sale.
Yeah, that's one of those things, another one of those integrating into your day that are like everyday integration of art. I think it reminds me, some of those things remind me a bit of the things you see at the textile museum when they have their they have their textile sales, and they get these incredibly beautiful fabrics with like the designs are like so beautiful. They have it once a year, but not during pandemics apparently. So
fair enough. So yeah, that's our little share for today.
That is awesome. I hope you send out information once it becomes like available for other people to order, because I can think of things I'd like to make with that.
I will for sure. Yeah, I think that I just have to fill out a couple more tax forms because they're an American company, so I have to fill out tax forms for selling something in the States.
Yeah.
And then I once Kelly has ordered some, I think I'll like post all of that information. Yeah.
That is great.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. It was lovely chatting, and your shares were beautiful.
Oh, it was so exciting. I had so much fun. Thanks so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed thinking about it, about what I was going to bring, and I really loved seeing your shares. They really...
Thanks. This was a lovely chat.
Yeah.
Like, I know we chatted not too long ago, pandemic, socially distanced, but like...
I know.
It was really nice to like catch up with you again. Like, these shares were like really, really lovely.
It was really nice to catch up with you guys too. I miss you guys. I can't wait to come back.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah. We now have a mini gallery, so we feel like semi-open.
I love that mini. I love mini things.
I know.
Really.
We're gonna go put it outside after we get off of the live stream.
Awesome.
Sweet. Well, have a wonderful weekend, and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. You too.